Coming up, an attempt to arrest the South Korean president failed after an hours-long standoff. What does the latest twist mean for the U.S. ally? And could the instability there work in China's favor? An expert in Seoul brings us a deep dive. Welcome back. I'm Iris Tao. Could it be a turning point for South Korea's ongoing political turmoil? Investigators today failed to arrest President Yoon Suk-yeol over his controversial martial law decree as Yoon's security team blocked officers from entering his residence. And this comes as concerns are growing over whether the Chinese Communist Party could be exploiting the current instability to further infiltrate South Korean politics and society. For a deep dive, we have David Kim, president and founder of Truth Forum. David Kim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, let's dive into the latest situation in South Korea today when the investigators, the arrest team, tried to arrest President Yoon Suk-yeol but actually failed, citing the thousands of supporters gathered outside of his residence and also the presence of his own security force. What's your interpretation of that and what does it mean for what's going to happen next?
Yeah, this morning they tried to arrest President Yoon Suk-yeol but they failed. It is because of the opposition, the loss of opposition by the people supporting President Suk-yeol, but also from the very beginning of the arrest warrant, there are lots of legal issues, and it also has certain kind of illegality about the arrest warrant. So, and the Constitutional Court suggests the Parliament to remove counts about treasons. So it is now, I think, we are facing certain kind of different phase about this situation.
And we know that President Yoon, in his latest message to supporters this week, again warned of anti-state forces, he says, that are violating our sovereignty and putting the nation in, quote, danger. How do you interpret this statement and what do you believe these, quote unquote, anti-state forces really represent?
Definitely North Korea and China. South Korea is facing ongoing challenges from North Korea, which has always been a dangerous anti-state force. Meanwhile, signs of the Chinese Communist Party's covert infiltration are popping up in various areas. Many people suspect the CCP might even be linked to the controversial election fraud allegations. This, to me, highlights a troubling reality for South Korea.
And now, speaking of the geopolitics surrounding all this, we know that President Yoon is known for his strong pro-U.S. stance and efforts to strengthen the U.S., Japan, South Korea alliance. So with South Korea's current political instability, do you foresee the CCP potentially leveraging the situation in South Korea to weaken the alliance or exploit divisions among these nations? And if so, how?
Definitely, they will use the situation because having the Democratic Party in power is much more favorable for China. And there has been indications that Chinese students participated pro-impeachment rallies. Because of its importance, China is carrying out various influence operations in South Korea, including manipulating public opinions and supporting anti-US pro-China rallies. South Korea is a strategic country for China. Geographically, we are very close, and China is one of South Korea's major trading partner. When Trump come back to power, it is clear that China will face strict trade sanctions, and China is now looking to use South Korea as a way to counter this situation. For example, they are trying to invest in South Korea's manufacturing sector to rebrand Chinese goods as a Korean product and export them again.
Wow, a lot of inner workings there. So what kind of strategies should South Korea adopt to safeguard its political and social systems from foreign influence, particularly from the CCP? And you mentioned the U.S. role here. How can the U.S. help its democratic ally?
I think the most important thing is to strengthen ROK-US alliance. This alliance is a strong foundation of South Korea's security and economy. It is also important to keep raising awareness among South Koreans about the danger of the Chinese Communist Party. We have built a relationship with China, and China become one of the most important trade partner for South Korea. But our way of thinking and our values are very different. China is still based on Maoism, which is the variation of Marxism, and Sinocentrism, which is actually very different mindset with those kind of Western countries, which established it based on Judeo-Christian worldview. And South Korea has been established a country based on modeling United States. So we also cherish those kind of universal values. So it is very important for South Korean people to understand the difference in between China and Korea and strengthen the alliance in between United States and South Korea. And for United States, I'd like to ask U.S. people, it is very important to understand that overwhelming majority of South Koreans strongly support the ROK-US alliance. And I think this alliance between South Korea and the U.S. is value-based partnership, and South Korea is built its nation on the value of freedom inspired by the U.S., and this value of freedom must extend to liberating North Korea and democratizing China. And I believe now is the time to further strengthen the alliance for the foundation of freedom.
Yeah, we have seen President Biden really putting in a lot of efforts to strengthen that U.S.-South Korea alliance. It will be very interesting to see what's going to happen once the new administration takes office. David Kim, President of Truth Forum, thank you so much.
Thank you.